Well, hello, Daniel. How are you?
I am good. How are you?
I am well, my friend. It's been a while since we've seen you. How is
Yes.
how's life in quarantine?
It's totally fine. I don't have any plans. I haven't done anything. I don't know how I'm getting through it. I haven't made any music. We just put out a record 3 weeks ago, and is there anything left? Did I did I get it
Has
all?
it been has it been that repetitive in every
Yes.
single
Yes.
interview?
Yes. Yes.
Well, good,
Absolutely.
because I brought
But
up.
it's fun because I just want to check in with people and see how things are in various locations. That's the fun in this for me is communicating with people across the country.
Where has been the funnest place to communicate to people across the country so far?
Uh, Probably London, checking in with the Bastille guys who are buddies of ours. Just
Yeah.
because the systems are so different, and their prime minister was in the hospital with the virus, and just a lot of crazy things happening there. So we've been comparing the American and British experiences with that.
Yeah, I have only just been involved with the American experience, obviously. I haven't talked to
Yeah.
anyone really across the pond, if you will. But I mean, the news is telling me enough. And I'm just like, let me just back off the news for a little bit because I'm going through doom scrolling now. And it's scary.
Yeah. It's not the best right now. I've been wearing this robe for all of the interviews. I'd like to shout out my sister, who's an Arizona resident, and she got me this for Christmas 2 years ago, and I didn't really wear it at the time, which I realize now was foolish. But my move with any Christmas present or a clothing item is basically I don't buy clothes. They show up one way or another over time. So this flannel my grandma got me from Kmart 10 years ago, and probably 5 years ago I started wearing it. So the old clothes will get holes in them or become disgusting, and then I'll open up something from my stockpile.
Wow.
Yeah.
What is the oldest piece of clothing that you still wear to this day?
The belt that I wear is from 7th grade.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
And it still fits perfect.
It does. It fits exactly the same, actually. Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And also really cool. Is this flannel the most valuable thing that you would say that you have because it is from your grandmother?
It was until the cat got a hold of it recently. It's got its quarantine claws, going where they're very long, and it's just kind of hanging into it. So I've got some holes now that I didn't have before, but it's okay. It just adds more character to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's all about character with you guys. You guys are a bunch of characters.
We're a bunch of fucking characters. I'd like to shout out spring. I'd like to shout out spring training as a concept, as a baseball concept, because my dad. So we're all from Rochester, New York, but my dad is a massive Cleveland Indians fan. He's from Ohio originally, and he worked his whole life in Rochester, and basically started saving for retirement when he was like in his early 20s. He was like, I don't want to go to work anymore. So he did this successfully until he was about 60. And now he's retired. And the only thing that he does is he goes to Arizona every single March for spring training to watch the Indians out in Goodyear.
Yeah.
And this year he went, and he had to come home after a week, and he was not happy. So that was the moment that it got real for him, was when spring training was gone.
Yeah, I know. And now all sports are gone, at least for the time being.
Yeah.
It is weird to see a lot of sports getting together and doing like esports, like jumping on and playing MLB Live or anything like that. It's a different experience.
It's been really interesting for me, because I thought that I think the general consensus is that esports are going to become massive, and I guess they are. There's a lot of money in it, but I think it might be like flying cars, though, where like we're told that it's coming, but it isn't coming, because it's just not accessible. Like watching people play League of Legends, I don't get it. I barely know what the game is called, even though I look like I play it. And it's not fun for me. And I think there's a lot of people who don't think it's fun, but I think we are seeing maybe something to like watching the athletes play the sports games, where like these are people who you respect their physical gift, and then you watch them kind of go head to head at something they're not as good at. Like that's fun. And watching people play things like Animal Crossing or simpler games, I think people are getting into. But as far as like competitive esports, if that was gonna become like a mainstream thing, I feel like this is the moment. It's never good. There's no competition right now, right? So why are you and I not being like, oh, we gotta go? There's a League of Legends competition on right now. We're not. You know?
Or we just have it on in the background and whatnot.
Yeah.
Imagine that day though when that happens. It's gonna feel really weird. And I love playing video games. I don't want to say I'm a massive gamer, but I can handle my own. And
do you watch esports? Do you watch other people play competitively?
So I've tried to, but I don't really care for half of the games that they're esporting.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I don't care about Fortnite. I don't care about League of Legends.
I do care about Fortnite. I care about Fortnite so much because Joywave's hit song "Destruction" was in the trailer, and our song "Blast Off" was in another trailer for the game. So I'd like to take this opportunity to say that I care so much about Fortnite. How dare you? This interview is over. We can continue. I just needed to, for the sponsors. I needed to get that in for the sponsors.
You didn't let me finish. I said
of course not.
But also,
I never let people finish.
I know. Look at you. You're already cutting me off. I did love the spots. I mean, I love it whenever I get to hear your guys' music in video games randomly, which is always a nice thing. How does that come about? Do they just ask you? They're like, "Hey, we dig your song. We're going to use it. We don't care what you say." Okay.
Yeah, well, no, you can, depending on the particular artist and the way their contract is situated, you can thumbs up or thumbs down it. Typically, there's not a lot of financial incentive to the uses, but the exposure is pretty hard to argue with. Like, so many people have like latched onto our song "Blast Off" because they saw it in the Fortnite trailer. So it's a really good career thing. And our song "Tongues" was in the FIFA video game, which again, I think I don't remember how much money was in it, but not a lot. But the long term, right? It introduced a lot of people to the band who then came to shows or purchased a record or bought a T-shirt or whatever. So I think it's I don't have any complaints about the system.
Yeah, it just widens your exposure, if you will, and latches on to a lot younger audience so that they can come out and see you guys. Yeah. Which I am a little sad that we had to postpone your guys' show.
We were supposed to do the thing in Tempe at the market, and which became the most. I have to say that became the most confusing date of the entire tour because every single day, someone would say, "When do tickets go on sale for Tempe?" And I was like, the good people at Alt 93.3 have made it free for everybody. You don't need a ticket. All you have to do is show up. And then that one person would say, "Okay, awesome. That's amazing. I'm so excited." And then the next day, repeat. So I was telling people one at a time, the entire time. Yeah.
That is the hardest thing to drill into people is like, it's free. They're like, so it doesn't cost anything? I'm like, no money. They're like, so I don't have to bring my purse. I'm like, no, just show up, bring your body and then just stand there.
Yeah.
It's a wild concept, but we do like to surprise people sometimes. So have you learned to churn butter yet or anything? Have you learned to fend for yourself?
No, I haven't done anything. And that's my goal. That's my goal, is to do nothing, to learn nothing. I have been doing some musical collaborating because I think that since this is bonus time for all of us, if I treat it as bonus time and do things that I might not have otherwise done, like trading files back and forth with a friend or due to poor connection. Can you still hear me?
Oh, no. Yes. We're good.
Yeah, okay, great.
You're doing it again.
Yeah, okay. But you're just kind of using it as bonus time versus using this as bonus time versus just going on and doing the next thing, Yeah. The first time I heard you was actually with Big Data for Dangerous, which I got to say really holds very near and dear to my heart because when that song came out, we had just started Alt AZ, which is I don't know, one of my favorite stations personally, but I'm biased. Which is Phoenix's new rock alternative.
Absolutely. I mean, there's only one, and there could be only one. We're like Highlander. I just, well, one, I want to thank you for doing that song, but two, do you still talk to, oh my God, I'm losing his name right now, but yes, he's Big Data.
Oh my, how could you forget Alan?
I know. I have a picture with him. We became homies for like 2 seconds, and you left. How dare you, Dan?
Yes. We still talk. He has.
That was the smoothest intro ever.
Thank you. He just had a baby, which is very exciting. And he's been he released a new record last year. I got to co-write one of the songs with him on there. I didn't sing on it. Alan sings the songs, but yeah, we're still good friends. I mean, that was such a crazy thing because Big Data started as it was a side project from Joywave, but nobody cared about Joywave or Big Data at the time. And me and Alan did 4 songs together, and basically both bands got signed within like a week or two of each other, and nothing had gone right in my life for like a decade. So, but the guys in Joywave and me all.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I had to kind of decide which one to do. So given the duration that I'd been working towards getting Joywave off the ground, it was pretty obvious to, stay with my boys. And then the Big Data song got retroactively named Dangerous featuring Joywave.
Yes. It was nice to see him in the music video for Destruction, I
believe. Yeah. He makes a cameo in the beginning.
It was a great cameo. It was a really nice callback to it. Who makes the music videos for you guys? Who comes up with the concepts? Because they're awesome. They're so entertaining.
Thank you. It depends on the video, but we tend to find directors that we like their body of work, and then we kind of collaborate on a concept. Usually, sometimes we just get pitched something that's so brilliant, we're like, okay, we're done. Like the Tongues video, these guys, the Daniels, did that for us, and they came up with that. And they've gone on to do this movie Swiss Army Man that's amazing with Daniel Radcliffe.
Yes.
Yeah. So their career as music video director is definitely over. But we were lucky to get them. And then other times, we have the whole concept, like our Like a Kennedy video, and we find somebody to bring that to life. And we found this director in the UK who really was like, okay, this is an amazing concept. I know exactly how to execute it. And he came up with, the way to pan around the whole vehicle and keep it interesting for the whole time and all that.
Yeah, it was really awesome. I mean, all of the music videos are great, and they all have different concepts, and I love how they just stand alone. But the latest one is what I'm loving the most, especially with all of these pill bottles and that guy just going nuts inside of the doctor's office. It's memorable for sure.
Yeah, with the new one for Half Your Age is the newest single, but the video for it, we wanted to create. We were talking about. I was saying how some of our music had been used in video game trailers, like for Fortnite, where Blast Off is used, and it's like a space themed thing, so it made sense to use it. And there's always these uses for songs, and there was this one in the 90s.
Circles. It's turning. Maybe. Come back, Dan.
I'm waiting. Hi.
Okay.
Okay. So there's this one. It's the product was called Crumbelievables, and it was a salad topper, and there was a song. It was like, Crumbelievable. It was like that NXS song plays, and I was like, that's the worst sync ever in history. So we wanted to make one that was that bad. So the chorus of Half Your Age is brush it all, brush it all, brush it away. And so it kind of revolves around this medication called Brush It All. It was originally a toothpaste ad. We were going to do like a straight up toothpaste ad for it because that we thought was the worst sync possible. But the big pharma avenue also presented itself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you went with it. I'm curious on what the toothpaste cut would have been like. Probably like a Zack Snyder cut, of course. But we'll never know.
Yeah, we'll never know.
All right, I know I only have just a little bit more time with you, so 2 things. Since your album dropped, Possession, what was the mood going in with this album versus the others?
I think it's kind of a combination of, I think the first record is kind of this hodgepodge of a lot of different sounds put together. It's kind of a fun record. And it represents this kind of confusing time in my life of post-college where I feel like I graduated, right? I'm supposed to get handed a job and a house and all these things that we're raised to believe that we deserve if we go to college. And so none of that happens for me because I graduate college at the time of the Great Recession, the worst time to graduate college in 100 years. So it's me making sense of that time and saying that, my life turned out differently than I thought it would. And it's all these songs that I wrote in my parents' basement when nobody cared what I was doing, just to kind of fill the time. And Content gets a lot deeper lyrically, and it's a lot darker. So this record, I think, kind of brings in the best of both worlds with this vision to it of just kind of staying zoomed out. Everything around us is like screaming breaking news all the time, or coronavirus right now, right? And you're saying you just need to check out. You don't want to hear that all the time, and it's important to pay attention, to be informed, and not say things like "this is a hoax." Like that's wrong.
Right.
You need to consume enough to know what's going on to make smart decisions for your health and the people around you. But you also need to maintain perspective in that this is temporary. Things will go back to some sort of normal. Coronavirus will not keep us sitting locked in our houses for the next 10 years,
Right. And then I have a fan question for you from at First Nibbity. Wants to know what your go-to synths or your VST plugins you use in songwriting and or live. All right.
It's a great question. We've got the little setup right here. We've got this Juno 106 here, which we used a bunch on Possession.
Nice.
Very nice. Very, very vintage. We have this Prophet 12, which that's been on all three records. So that's kind of been the most consistent. We've got a new secret one that I just got that I'm not going to show you yet. And we've got the Mellotron here, which really became a backbone of the second and third record. And I use VSTs and soft synths a lot when I'm writing, just because it's quicker. But I try to generally we'll track live keyboards, and Ben, our keyboard player, is an amazing keyboardist, so we usually use those bad boys.
Did you convert like a dresser to pull out and give me all of those keyboards? Or is that a legit?
Just now, it's a keyboard rack. A buddy of my girlfriend is a furniture maker in Brooklyn, and he does awesome work. So I had him come and measure all my gear, and he built me this amazing rack. Here, I'll do a full rack photo.
Wow, that is an amazing rack. I never thought I'd be able to tell you that, but that really is. Good stuff, man.
Cool.
Well, hey, dude, Daniel, thank you for hanging out with me today. I'm glad we got to ask all the hard-hitting questions. You answered all of them, and disappointed you haven't started turning butter yet.
In the first 30 seconds, I answered all of them. How about that?
You really did, and I was like, dang, I'm going to have to come off with the top of my head for these ones. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm going to have to make some shit up. You did it, though.
Yeah, we did it.
Well. It went well.
Thank you. Well, hey, man, you have a great rest of your quarantine. Stay safe. Wash your hands.
You stay safe as well.
Alt AC 93.3.